September Gray Fine Art Gallery located in Atlanta, Georgia. My gallery represents artists from the African American diaspora, representing culturally engaging in historical work and the preservation of African American art. I work with emerging, mid-career, and well-established artists. It's all about the historical preservation of our work and helping the collectors to appreciate the work they're collecting as well.
Okay, so is this your first time at this particular event?
This is my first time at Red Dot, yes.
So you've done some of the other stuff?
I've done Prism, and I've done works on paper in New York. And I've actually done the Hamptons Art Fair.
Okay. And so how important is it to have this type of representation of Black African American art in shows of this nature?
Well, it's very important, number one, because African American art has been around as long as we've been here in America. So it's been here from the beginning. It's just not been as well received and respected and as visible. So I think it's important to show the work because these are artists that are creating work that just happen to be African American artists that are creating great work. So I think it's so important that we see the work and understand it's a part of the landscape here in America, and it's part of the landscape globally. Our work has always been here. It's just been underrepresented and not shown as much. And thankfully, since Black Lives Matter and things that have happened in the last few years, and we've been at home and kind of really taking a critical look at what we're doing in our work and what's going on around us, we're able to see the work now and appreciate it differently. And I think that's huge. I think that's important. So now people understand it. They're starting to see more of it. You have museums and institutions that are starting to look at their collections and try to diversify their collections and bring more work out to represent the community they're in. So that's what you need. You need the work that represents the community. Because it's not an all-Black community. It's not an all-Hispanic community. It's not an all-white community. This is a community of people globally from all over the world. So you have to respect what's happening in the world. So it's just, again, so you have to have Black art because it represents Black artists, but it also represents America and this land that was cultivated and built on the backs of Blacks, as well as other, people that came to this country. But it's always been important, so it has to be represented. If you're going to represent uniquely what is American art, you have to show African American art because it is American art.
So do you feel that this type of venue and these type of venues, is the work well received in these type of venues?
It is well received, and I love that. People appreciate beauty, and they appreciate the aesthetics of it. They appreciate the texture, the color, the workmanship. They appreciate great art. So I think it's very well received. And often they don't know who did the work. They don't know if it's an African American artist, Latino artist, or white artist. Sometimes they just know it's great art, and that's the beauty of art. It surpasses the color or class. It's just great art. It stands on its own.
So how do you go about selecting your artists?
Often I'm a collector, so often I go to museums, I go to universities, I travel to other galleries, I meet other collectors. So normally it's through my network of connections, through other people, through collectors, through other artists. Sometimes they submit work to me, and sometimes I'm introduced by another collector or a gallery or studio visit. So it happens various ways.
So have you met some artists? Have you met artists here that
yes,
you might be
I've met
interested
some
in?
phenomenal artists here. Of course, the artist world converges here in Miami during this time. So I've met some really, really great artists and some interesting work.
So then this is a good event for independent artists to be at.
I think so. It's you get to see a mixture of work and different mediums, and it's really nice. It's very diverse, and I love the diversity here.
So as a gallery owner, and you're here with work with other artists, do you also look to see what is out there, what emerging artists are out there at these particular events to see if you might want to represent someone here at the show?
Honestly, I don't, only because I'm responsible for the artists that I bring here. I've put my time, energy, and resources into bringing them here, so they need my undivided attention. And I think I don't like to spread myself too thin, so my focus is totally on my artists and helping them to get out and have a different audience by being here. So my job is to work here for the artists that I've brought here, but not to look for other artists. It's nice to see other work, but I'm really dedicated and devoted to the artists that I have here. And that's my main goal when I come here. I bring the artists, I show the work, and help them develop so that they can build their resume. And of course, over time, go with other collectors, do other art fairs, and that's what we're about, is building their work and helping them as they're building their resume so that they can go on to do other things. So I really don't do that. I think it's good if you're coming here specifically for that, but I think if you're having a booth or a space here, you're bringing artists here, that should be your focus.
So can you tell me a little bit about the artists that you do have here?
Yes, I'd love to. I have 5 amazing artists. I have Kevin Cole, Michael Schofield, Eleanor Neal, Atu Ribeiro, and Jamel Wright. And they're all very different in their own aspects. Jamel Wright is a textile artist. Atu Ribeiro is a sculptural artist. Kevin Cole, he is a painter and a sculptural artist as well, and does a lot of 3D dimensional work in wood. Michael Schofield is an abstract expressionist, and Eleanor Neal deals in monotypes and India ink works on paper, and they're all exceptional artists, and I'm really proud to have them here at Art Basel and be part of Red Dot.
So how did you select which artists to bring?
That was a hard decision because I work with incredible artists, but they're all so uniquely different, but they all tie in with relevancy as far as African American history and our story. They're all paying homage to the Great Migration and coming together as a people and voting rights and Black Lives Matter. Everybody's telling a story about survival and resilience and coming together as a people, even though we've been torn apart. So they're all communicating to each other through different means, and that was important to me. How do you have different artists here, but they're all communicating the same message? And each artist is communicating it differently, but they're all talking about parts of our history we need to understand. We need to understand the Great Migration. We need to understand how we need to come together and build, and how we've been separated, and how do we come together as a people. We need to discuss voting rights and why voting is so important. That's part of the work. Black Lives Matter, how we need to come together and figure out in this society how to diffuse situations without killing our young Black people, and the perseverance and survival of our people through Eleanor's work, again describing how we go through things in life, but we're so resilient, and we come through, and that perseverance through her work. So they're all communicating together and telling the same story, but just through a different language, if you will, a visual language, but it's the same story, and that's the importance of the work. And that's what I try to focus in on when I'm looking at the artist, the importance and the intellectual story behind the work. Is it speaking to me, and is it relevant to me and my history and my story? Because that's how I can relate to the work. If I can't relate to the work and it's not important to my story or my people or my environment, why have the work?
So if someone would like to get in touch with you, find these artists, how would they go about doing that?
They can reach me through my website, septembergrayart.com, or they could email me at septembergrayart.com or septembergrayart@gmail.com. Or again, just go through my website and email me, and I'd be happy to respond and reach out and welcome any thoughts, comments, or an interest in the artists that I work with.
Do you have any social media posts?
I'm on Instagram, September Gray Art.